These are my predictions for GCSE Physics, AQA, and Gcse triple higher. Disclaimer, these are only predictions. Do not follow it to the T. Make sure you still do your own revision. Just do this to check if you missed anything. As always, the papers are already linked in my bio. The 2 required practicals for AQA that I think will come up this year would be specific heat capacity and also the parallel resistor investigation. But I think the parallel resistor investigation is going to be more marks than the specific heat capacity. I think you're going to get more renewable energies this year than usual. Maybe efficiency calculation, evaluate questions on renewable energies, static electricity, electric fields, all of those. I think you're going to get more than usual. Calculations on electrical resistance, calculations on power, efficiency, that usually always comes up. Energy using conversions of KE to GPE to EPE and then how they relate to each other. Remember that all energy is the same as each other, provided that the efficiency is 100%. Specific latent heat of fusion is very overdue. And then the atomic structure in terms of like atomic model history, alpha decay equation, not too much in my opinion. Maybe only a tiny question on nuclear fusion or fission, but I think last year they had comparison, if I'm not wrong. Drawing half-life, counting the count rate, just being very careful with the units, I think, yes. Overall, I don't think it's going to be too bad of a paper. For a Gcse, it doesn't really change too much, and they don't tend to skip like any topics whatsoever. So I'm just going to say, to begin with, I think everything will come up. But specifically, I think you're going to have a bit of like momentum questions, density and pressure, maybe even like momentum of like, you know, the egg drop onto like a box of feathers as compared to egg drop onto like a flat ground and comparing that why. So it's like rate of change of momentum stuff. And then astronomy, but looking at the Big Bang Theory, redshift, a bit more extended response questions. Radioactivity comes up every single year. It's quite stable, the amount of like questions you get from that, so I think it's going to be about 22 marks overall. Half-life, alpha, beta, gamma, nuclear equations. Nuclear is always pretty big overall. Isotopes, and then conservation of energy. It was absent entirely in 2021, but aside from that, it's always been pretty consistent. So work, power, gravitational potential heat, gravitational potential energy, specific heat, KE, those kind of things. Waves is quite declining over the years for some reason, but probably about the ultrasound and sonar doesn't really come up very often, so maybe. I think it came up a little bit last year. And then light and electromagnetic spectrum, it was skipped for one of the years, so I think it might come up. It was already quite a lot last year as well, so probably light. And then, yeah, aside from that, I don't think it's going to be too bad either. For combined science for a Gcse, just skip out all the triple content.